maybe you want to go on a little mushroom hunt and we
Well,
can
let's go on a
explore.
mushroom hunt together. So before we start, I want everyone to take a pause, look at the mushroom species here, and before I start adding Latin binomials and common names, just gaze at this for a second, and then we'll begin. So, of course, we have Amanita muscaria right here, the famous Santa Claus mushroom. Causes you to fall asleep, not deadly to humans typically, could be deadly to dogs. And then we have morels, Morchella esculenta, the Amanita muscaria, Morchella esculenta, edible in choice, but always you should cook morels. This is very important. Then you have oyster mushrooms, Pleurotus austriatus, up here, which is fantastic. And before we go down, it's interesting that you put some non-chlorophyll plants as well. This is Monotropa uniflora, which is a non-chlorophyll plant, and this is Allotropa virgata, candy sticks. This is important because they actually parasitize mushroom mycelium, matsutake being one of them, the pine mushroom. Then coming down, we have Ganoderma applanatum, the artist conch, and you scratch the bottom of this, not this painting, it stains brown. A very good medicinal mushroom. You have Cantharellus formosus, the chanterelle.
My
Uh,
favorite.
Cantharellus siberius is another name, different regional species. You have Cordyceps militaris, which I love your cordyceps coming in, and that parasitizes a truffle,
Oh,
Elaphomyces. And then descending, we have the famous turkey tail, the most powerful medicinal mushroom in the world, Trametes versicolor. Old name is Coriolus versicolor. This is the most well-studied medicinal mushroom for fighting cancer. And specifically, there's great evidence in supporting the immune system with breast cancer patients.
wow.
And then I noticed Hericium erinaceus. So you have lion's mane, tentacles in the background. That's very subtle. It took me a while to figure out, oh, wait a second, there's a lion's mane. So Hericium erinaceus stimulates nerve growth factors. So it's a very powerful medicinal mushroom, also the subject of some very interesting studies for fighting neuropathy. And then descending, we have Agaricon, Fomitopsis officinalis, or Larissifomes officinalis, the larch polypore, one of the longest growing mushrooms in the world. Subject of my research. I'm hyper focused on Agaricon. We have 105 strains in culture now, by far the largest culture library in the world. And almost all these mushrooms have come from the old growth forest. We leave the conchs unless we find them on the ground, or unless it's made logged or there be a fire. Then we have Psilocybe cubensis. I had to look at this very, very carefully, but when I saw that one there, bam, I knew that is Psilocybe cubensis, a potent psilocybin mushroom, also growing throughout the subtropics from Texas to Indonesia to Australia to India, South America, Central America. You have Latoporus conifericula, which is the chicken of the woods. Other name is Polyporus sulphureus, for those of you who are looking at other books. Edible in choice on the edge of the mushroom. Then we have Porcini, Boletus edulis. Edulis means edible, so an excellent species in that regard. And then descending here, you have another Ganoderma, and this over here looks like Ganoderma resinaceum or Ganoderma sugi. There's a lacquered Ganoderma. Ganoderma applanatum is not lacquered on top. It's not shiny, but when this mushroom gets wet, it gets very shiny. That's why it's called lucidum. Resinaceum is one that's native to Canada. Lucidum is not really much in Canada. Then coming down, you have Lycopterodon perlatum. These are little puffballs, and the warts give a very distinct taxonomic feature. And then you have my favorite, Psilocybe cyanescens. So this is one of the most potent psilocybin mushrooms in the world. They're called wavy caps. And very interestingly, this species was spread to Europe by most mycologists' opinion when they transferred rhododendrons and
Oh,
azaleas to the Kew Gardens in England. And that gave it a mycelial footprint, and it launched and spread and colonized Europe. So this
oh,
species came from the Northwest. It's now all over Europe because the Kew Gardens and other botanical gardens would bring in plants from the Northwest. In the Northwest, there's many rhododendron species that were highly cherished. Continuing down, we have shaggy manes, Coprinus comatus, with the inky cap. And so it delicacies into a black liquid, edible and choice mushroom. Now you're into the Mycena group. There's over 500 species of Mycena, but these look like Mycena alkalina group. They smell like chlorine, so I can't really smell on the
It smells like
painting,
acrylic.
but very fun. So Mycena group, and we did Lycoperidon, and then we're down to here, and this is, I'm looking at the gills and they're split. So the split gill polypore is called Schizophyllum commune. And Schizophyllum commune also is a source of a molecule called schizophylin, which was also used in adjunct therapy for enhancing chemotherapeutic medicines in patients fighting cancer. So people can look that up. It's an interesting molecule. And then we have Usnea. Usnea has been used in North America and Europe for making teas, et cetera, for supporting health. So you have the entire ecosystem here. Then very deep. And we didn't talk about this. This is where you're a fountain of knowledge. And I found it so cool that you put a dark star, which is a portal into another universe.
Mm.
And the mycelium is the neural net of our brains, the universe, the internet, and dark matter. And this is a portal that she, the queen, is inviting us to enter into the eternity of universal consciousness and existence. And then her eyes, I'm in love.
Thank you for that tour, Paul. Just really wanted to illustrate the interconnected nature and the generosity of that nature. I love what you said about the heart portal, and I really like to meditate on the concepts of inner space and outer space. So you phrased it very eloquently. And it's just a delight to share this piece with the world and an honor to share it with you. And I'm so glad that you can identify all of them. I definitely dove into those details, and I really wanted to do them honor.
Well, you have. And for all of you out there, Autumn and I were sharing, I'm just writing another book and 500 plus hours or more. If any of you start a project and you think about the enormity of the project, it could be stifling. It gets like, this is too much work, but you just keep on working, keep on plugging step by step. And pretty soon you get into the flow state and you realize that the work is greater than the person,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are channeling something that, will be a message for the masses as we're doing right now. So all of you writers and artists and all of you, struggling in this incremental one step at a time, the path that ultimately will be rewarding, not only to yourself, but for everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
let's all work together and stay on the path.
Yeah, just keep creating. Picasso said, "Inspiration does exist, but it must find you working."
Yeah.
And I really believe in that.
Yeah.
Just diligent, methodical, patient, persistent.
You're
And
brilliant.
thank you for the work you do.
May I have a
And
hug?
yeah.
Yeah.